Batman Arkham Knight, the third main entry into the Arkham series, fourth in the series altogether of the main games, not counting the VR and a couple of other little games here and there. This is still a great game. Now, I have this for both my Xbox and my PS4. My Xbox is still a physical copy, so you gotta love that. I mean, dude, look at that. That is just so much fun. Um, there aren't many games that I can actually say are taking place on Halloween, so this is actually a pretty nice one. I have to say, it looks just good. And I mean, just take a look at that. Scarecrow is spooky. The Arkham Knight is actually pretty terrifying when you think about it. Batman looks more like a badass than ever before. This game has everything going for it. And that's difficult to say. How can a game be that good? Well, they can be. And that's what this game does very well, in my opinion. How do I properly categorize it? Well, I should probably just start with a plot synopsis. I hope I said that right. Anyways, moving on. So, the game takes place roughly about 8 or 9 months after the events of Arkham City. I don't want to spoil anything for that into that game, but let's just say that a lot has happened. After Arkham City, Gotham is lucky to still be a city, basically. And, you know, a certain character has died, and, you know, Batman, Gordon, they're all waiting for the shit to hit the fan, and for a while it didn't. Crime went down, and, you know, it was weird. Then, of course, on Halloween night, well, the day before anyways, what happens? All hell. This is the first game in the series, by the way, to earn the coveted M rating. Let that sink in. This is an M-rated game. An M-rated game, man. How do you how do you feel about that? It's an M-rated game, and it sure looks it too. But I got to admit, it's a fun game. You know, after that, after the character's reveal, which is Scarecrow, and boy, like you see on the back of the cover, he looks messed up. I mean, he is a force to be reckoned with in this game. And the voice actor they got to play him is just perfect. The guy is a fantastically creepy guy when he wants to be, and I love that voice, that carrying that he does. I mean, it's just, he carries such wisdom and yet frightfulness. And he's perfect for the character of Crane. I thought Crane was a perfect primary villain for this storyline, and he is really responsible. I mean, that's not putting it mildly. And Batman, of course, he's putting up with all the stuff he had to deal with Arkham City, and now he's being thrown into that. You can only begin to imagine what this poor guy is going through. And it's Halloween, too. I mean, you've seen jack-o'-lanterns and costumes, orange and black all over the place, and then Scarecrow comes in. And I love how everybody's like, yeah, leave it to Scarecrow to do it on this one night. Yeah, and the whole story takes place on Halloween, basically. And I understand where this comes from. There's a couple of comics called The Long Halloween and stuff, and a few other stories where Scarecrow really does factor in as a serious threat. Let that sink in. He can be a serious threat. He's not just some, you know, wimpy character. This is somebody who you need to be afraid of. And in this game, they make him pretty dangerous. What I found interesting, though, is that he also has acquired a good chunk of the villains together. He's also got the Arkham Knight, the new special character for this game. Now, I've heard a lot of people say that the character is very disappointing, and if you haven't played it, which is kind of hard to believe, but still, some people haven't, the twist with this character, with another character, and how the whole game rolls up and, you know, goes in, is just such a story point that I don't want to give it up. Now, on to, because there's so much story I could ruin here, and I'll give you this. It doesn't automatically feel like an M-rated game, but I'll say this, the way things are played, the way things are done, this earned its M rating just barely. This could have been a hard teen rating, but that actually works for the game, especially with the Halloween and the Scarecrow setting. So that's pretty cool. What about the graphics and sound? The graphics, first of all, are incredible for this game. They are beautiful. They are beyond reproach. They are just incredible. And yet, while they're a little dated now, they're still beyond beautiful. I mean, that too. And this is one game where it had no cutscenes done in pre-rendered graphics. They're all real time. And just the look on that is incredible. And the copy I'm holding up is the Xbox One, and unfortunately, this copy does have, in my opinion, it's gotten hit the worst in. I hate saying this, but it really got hit the worst in the graphics department because of the problems the original Xbox One had. I mean, I've heard about that. I mean, part of your CPU and GPU, if it's all in APU's power being partially restricted, the actual memory being restricted for that damn camera, and that hurt the game. And that's why it's on 900p on this system. Now, to be fair, that's still pretty damn good. And while I admit, even on when I had it on my old 1080p, and then when I got the 4K, you can still see the difference between the PS4 and the Xbox One. It's still a great game, and I'd still gladly play it on this. My one problem for the Xbox One version, though, is there are certain sound effects that don't quite work right. I don't know what the heck it is, and it's done this on all my systems, and I've really been messing around with the system to see if I can get rid of it, is whether it's on my sound system or on the TV, I'm not hearing every sound, especially when you're in Batmobile mode. I don't know what it is. It just doesn't want to work. It's a shame. That's really my only complaint for the game. Otherwise, the sound, the voice acting, they're all stellar. It's really a good game. The combat, for the most part, is the same, but there have definitely been some new improvements to the Predator mode, especially with this being a scary game, so that fits. The combat feels a little tighter, which is very good. The dodging mechanics are even better. And then there's the whole mechanics around the Batmobile. Let that sink in. The Batmobile is just incredible to control. Now, I do agree with people when they say that the Batmobile takes up a little too much of this game, because as much as I hate to say it, in my opinion, yes, it does take up a little too much. It's just overused in a mechanical sense. But at the same time, it's something we've been kind of wanting for a while. I think they overdid it, but at the same time, it works so efficiently. You can't say that with many games. It does work efficiently. Overused? Oh, hell yes. And that does affect the final rating for the game, but very good nonetheless. Thank God these are two console games, because I am never buying it on PC. I don't care if they've at least got it up and running. That PC version can go kiss my royal ass. And I'm not going through that. Oh, God. I'm not going through that. As for the DLC, well, you know, sorry. That's a different story. You know, the season pass, if you're buying the game brand new and you want all the DLC, some of it is free, by the way. But the season pass was originally $40. This is right around the time when they really did start to go up. Yet, I understood why it was so much. We were getting a constant 6 months of DLC. Some were major things, some were small things, some were pretty decent, some were just like, what the hell? And some were just straight out free. But the season pass holders would get it first, and they would get it like a week or 2 weeks early. So there was an advantage there. And if you total up most of the more expensive things, the season pass was well worth the price tag. I mean, it really gave you a discount. But here's the cool thing. After those 6 months were up, I think about a month later, it did go down in price. I don't know if it's still that way, but it dropped from $40 to $20, and that gave you access to everything through that season pass. So if you're a new player to the game and you don't have a good chunk of the DLC, that's a good way to go. One of the story packs for the DLC is also important because I want to talk about this. I'm not going to tell you about some of the characters in the main campaign or even bring it up because that would just be wrong. But in this DLC pack, you play as Barbara Gordon as Batwoman and Tim Drake as Robin. And it's set before even the first game on a refinery. And you are going up against Harley Quinn and Joker. And Joker's voiced by Mark Hamill. Because that's DLC, I'm not saying if he's in the main game or not. I'm not going to even entertain that thought. Why would you think that? Why? Why would you think that? But it's so well done. And that's the thing that gets to me, is that it's still so well done. So well done. Sorry about that. So it is worth it. This is a game that is so worth it. There's so much content. There's so many little things I could go on about, but I can't. There was a Season of Evil expansion pack that actually goes into the main story. There's little side quest missions. There's one with Harley Quinn. There's one with Red Hood. There's one with Catwoman, Nightwing. I mean, these are practically whole stories. So it's worth it to buy this game, to enjoy it, and to have a damn good time. And I mean that too, it is. I can't say anything else, really. The game is just worth it. Now, you're going to ask, am I going to dock the Xbox One version? The answer is actually no. Like I said, there's definitely problems. There were some bugs, especially early on, but luckily they rarely happened. But if I was going to give the PC version, it would be like maybe a 4, and I don't even want to do that. But for both console versions, despite both of their problems, including the downgrades, unfortunately, that the Xbox One version has to go through, I'm still going to give it a solid 8. So it's worth it. I highly recommend it, and I highly recommend you go and check out the game. It's only $20 now. It's worth it. See ya.